Going on, comic book junkies? Welcome to another Saturday morning cartoon show. I always get that wrong. Welcome to another Saturday morning comic book show.
Captain Caveman! It's Adam the mild-mannered janitor. Number one super guy.
Hey, what's up, Doc? What's cooking? What's up, Doc?
So let me apologize. I didn't have enough time last Sunday or last week to make a Sunday video, and I'm on a new computer. Transferred over my editing software to this computer, and transferred files. I've had this new laptop for 4 or 5 months, and it's a lot more powerful. But I have not been able to have time to get it started up, and I unexpectedly had a day off today. Even though the rest of the week's going to be very, very busy. So I had to show this book. I took it out of the Mylar. It's pretty high grade. It's a newsstand. Boy, this book is shot up. Obviously, it's Todd McFarlane. I don't know, is this his first art on Batman? I'm not sure. It's an iconic cover. I got this for $12 in Alabama years ago, and I think it's like a 9.4. It's got a lot of non-color breaking ticking going on the back cover. So that's where like most of the defects are on this thing. But man, it's beautiful. So I'm thinking, hopefully I write a 9.4 after a press, but I don't care. I like my books raw. I just wanted to get the old tape off it and put in an extra backing board in here, give it a little more stability. All right, so currently I'm reading this, and I don't know if you're like me, I'll pick up certain books and get like a little bit into them, and then I'll put them down, and I'll pick up another one. I did buy this when it first came out. This is the 6th printing. I came on up to 2 of these for $1 at the flea market. I forget what the other printing the other one is. I think it's 4th printing. But this is the first? This is the first graphic novel by Marvel Comics, and it's the death of Captain Marvel. And spoilers, he gets cancer. It's Jim Starlin art and writing, and it's really good. And really, a lot of characterization in here, a lot of dealing with cancer, a lot of emotional stuff going on, especially with some of the superheroes. They handle it differently, and I like how he handled the characterization, the different personalities. And my dad died from cancer when I was young, so I have a lot of knowledge and experience with that. I pulled this one off the shelf. This is a special book I bought off eBay. It's low grade. It was from a gentleman who was selling his father's collection. His first time selling. I believe I was his first customer. There ain't too many Star Spangled comics that have Batman on the cover. I think I counted only 6 issues. A lot of them have Robin, but not too many of them have Batman. This one has a little bit of a horror element to it. As you can see, it has Ranch of Fear. I did read this. I thought it was pretty good. I liked it a lot. And this is from 1949, so officially Golden Age. And with the shipping and the handling, I paid $88, which I thought was a pretty good price. It's like a 1.8 to 2.0. The cover is split all the way up to here and detached all the way up to there. I don't know if it's fully attached, but other than that, it ain't bad. It's got a lot of chipping around it. And that's Star Spangled Comics. What number is this? Number 90. March 49, 48. Let me grab me a drink of water over here. Hardly any water in there. So, every now and again, I'll mention that my channel, I don't try to reach for the big heights. I don't care about making money off it or getting rich or whatever. You know, it is nice to get the views and subscribers, and I kind of treat it more like my personal blog into my life because I'm a comic book collector, and that evolves around everything I do pretty much. So I talked about moving to the Dominican Republic, and we all had all the intentions of doing so and retiring, but we had a plan B, and it just happens that things worked out where we went with plan B, which is we're going to stay in the States now, and we found a house. But in order for us to stay in the States, I got to stay working. My wife's retiring, so we found a house near my job, and my wife's mentioned because she doesn't like Florida. She has really bad allergies here, and the low pressure systems, the pollen, and the dust that comes out of the sand. There's a lot of sand here. It's a big sandbar. That's this fine dust. So she said, oh, I wouldn't mind living up in Alabama. It's the seasons, the summer's a lot shorter. It gets a lot cooler quicker. And so, I showed her a couple of listings. I just happened to show her. I was after this book for years, and I just didn't want to pay the money. And, I passed on quite a few issues for $50 thinking, I'll find one cheaper in around the 5.0 to 6.0 to 7.0 range. And the book kept going up, going up. And I did pick up a low grade copy for $15 after about 3 years of finally hooing and hawing. Because I really wanted this book. I think it's so great. A Marshall Rogers cover. And it's got a cool story. And this is Detective number 495. But my LCS got a copy in. I like to support this shop. It's in Gainesville, Florida. He's a great owner, Chet. He always has great books, Golden Age, always has Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age. A lot of times he gets collections in for cheap. He cuts me a lot of deals. So, he had 75 on this, and it was a little more than I wanted to pay. But, I said, all the deals that he's given me over the years, I'm not really losing money. So I finally got this copy. When did I pick this up? Actually, it was in February. I got it for my birthday. So anyways, I was showing listings to my wife of things in the area where I work up in Alabama. I work in northern Alabama. And I wanted to, if I find a house, I'd like to stay, within 30 miles. I think that'd be pretty good. And so she saw this listing, and she fell in love with this house. This house that we found, we've talked, we've been married 28 years, so we fantasized about the kind of houses we've wanted since we've been married. And we started out in a 900 square foot little house with 4 kids when we first got married. We finally moved to this house, which is, pretty big, 2,000 square foot. But once you buy a big house and you lived in a little house, you really don't want to go back to something small. You need the room. I like to have the room. I just picked this one up. So my last Golden Age. And we found this house, and it checked one box after the other. It's a beautiful stone house, 2-story. It's got 1,800 square foot, a detached garage. My wife, she's a woodworker. She has certificates in woodworking from different colleges. So she's always wanted her own wood shop. So this huge garage, she's like, that could be my workshop. I'm like, baby, that definitely will be your workshop. It has a beautiful bigger room than this for my comic room, plus 3 other bedrooms, fireplace, has a pool, and it's right next door to our church. And it's in a little town, not quite the Mayberry size, maybe twice, 3 times as big as that, and it's near my job. And so, we went for it, and now we're closing on it, and we should own it in about 20 days, but I just bought this. So my wife made me promise. She took her hands in my hand. She said, honey, can you just not buy anything comic related for 4 months? And I said, yes. And in 4 months, it's my birthday. So I stopped Mylaring, and I'll get back to it, but I happened to buy this book. I just saw it. It was high grade. It's the last issue. Now I'm familiar with the title. I have a few other, another Santa Claus cover from this one, and another two winter issues from this title. And this is who, I forget who published this. Oh, Street and Smith published this. And it's just a great Santa Claus cover. And it's the last issue, so it's a scarcer book. And I just started reading it. It has Christmas stories in there. The first one is about this giant bat. And the kids, they forgot to mail in their letters on time to Santa. They're all up in a ruckus crying and all this. And the bat's like, I just want to get to sleep. He's like, this giant bat. He goes, fine, I'll deliver your letters to the North Pole. And he misses Santa Claus by a few hours. And so the elves say, hey, well, you can take some toys and deliver them yourself. And it's a really cool story. That's the first story. So I haven't got past that. This is number 42 from December 48. It's a great cover. Beautiful book. High grade. I think it's like a 6.0. They called it a 5.0 at my comic shop. They're usually around a grade under what that book really are. I think once or twice I bought a book that was either exactly what they graded it or below. So if you buy from my comic shop, you just can't go wrong. We're at 10 minutes already. I've only showed 4 books. All right, so another Golden Age. A couple of shark covers here. Grand Slam Comics. I said I'm going to make this 15 minutes, but you know what? Now it's going to be a half hour. This is a high-grade book. I won it on an auction. It's a Canadian book from 1947, and it's a Canadian white. So the Canadian whites do have color, but it's the early issues that were just white pages, or either like they had one color ink, either red, green, or blue. Oh, this is a really nice copy. You don't find these too often in this condition. And it was an auction. I fought for it and paid $80. There were some superhero ones in there. Those went up a little bit higher than I wanted to pay, and people were really trying to get those. That's great. That's a cool book. This is actually also the last issue of this series. I'm gonna have to go to painter's tape. I don't like it because it's not clear, but this you buy the one that's not exactly clear. It's a little transparent, translucent, but every now and then it rips when you try to open the bag. The thing I like about this tape, if you get the super clear one, it sticks really hard, and it's really hard to get off, and it does leave residue. The one that's a little bit translucent does not leave residue, and it's easier to undo. So here we have another shark. I think I got this from my comic shop. It was only $43, and it's in great condition. This book usually goes for 80 to 100, or a little bit more in this condition. But it had a big spine roll, and I pressed it, and it's just an amazing condition. 43, and that's with shipping and tax. So check it out. I mean, look on eBay, and you'll see that this book goes for a lot more than $43 in this condition. You'd be hard pressed to find one this nice for 43. Usually, you probably pay 43 for one, probably like a 2.5. So those are my 2 shark books. I have quite a few shark Golden Age books. I love shark covers. But I won't just take any one. They gotta really look cool. Okay, so just some random books that, like always, the Night Tiger shows in the video. So here we have a Night Tiger copy of Atari Force #1. And I probably passed this book 1,000 times in dollar bins, but this one, when I saw it, I said it's like a 9/8, and it's only $1. So finally, I just get the first issue. We had one of the very first Atari consoles when they came out. They first came out through Sears, and my mom bought one for my dad for Christmas. And if you know Atari systems, you had to blow on that thing because it would start skipping in there, especially the tank. We used to play that tank one all the time. And then the wires would start getting loose. And it was a whole experience with those Ataris. This is a low grade copy because it's got a rusted staple, but it's the first appearance of Hammerhead. So what did I pay for this? I paid $15 for this at a show. And you know, it was such a nice copy, and it was the first appearance. I couldn't believe it was $15. And I didn't really even look at it till I got home and saw that it had that rusty staple. So I'm not even sure what this book goes for. The cover is not really that cool. Hammerhead's not even on the cover, which is this is kind of a letdown. But Spider-Man 113 from October '72. I like this new camera setup though, and it's a much wider angle. Then here we have issue number 1, Mighty Marvel Spectacular. I like finding these number 1 reprints from the Bronze Age. Pretty nice copy. Probably like a 4.5 or something like that. And it was $4 at my local shop from August '73. Nice Jack Kirby cover. And one of Jack's best, better covers. Sometimes you can tell when he just rushes on a cover. I love Jack Kirby, and I think he's just an astounding artist. But he knows how to draw quick. And sometimes you can see the covers he does probably in like 15 seconds to a minute. If you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we have another number 1 here. This is Black Panther miniseries. I think this may be his first solo title. So a 4-issue miniseries from 1988. I did read this here. I read this in the 80s. I can't even remember what it was about. But I just love that corner box. It really looks cool. I think that's a John Romita corner box up there. I would have took that moon and kind of moved it over a little bit and get at least half of it behind the Black Panther. What else? Oh man, I don't know where I found this, but I remember back right before COVID, this book got really hot, and I'm like, I have that. I think I found this for $1 about 20 odd years ago, 25, 26 years ago, at a shop it's been out of business for quite a while. That's a newsstand, 1983, which most of more newsstands are on them. So Jean Day cover, and this is the cover of The Mandalorian, and it is the origin of Boba Fett. If I remember correctly, that is not Boba Fett, but it's The Mandalorian. But you know what? We have a comment section down there. If I'm wrong, leave me a comment. We got some Action Comics. I think I'm reading this storyline right now. So this has the new Brainiac in it. It's a Gene Colan cover, and the new Brainiac is a robot, but he looks like a robot, not a human. So the old Brainiac had the merest touch of humanity, and the new Brainiac has eliminated that defect. So what a cool concept. This was $1. Marv Wolfman on the scripts, Gene Colan on interior arts also. July '83, Action Comics 545. Where we at? We're 17 minutes, 18 minutes. Here we have another Gene Colan. This is one of those ones where the inking is much different. Now, from what I've read, when you see these thicker lines, it's because the art was much smaller when they drew it, and they blew it up for a cover, and you get these thick ink lines. Or they inked it with a marker instead of ink. You can really tell the difference between this inking on this Gene Colan cover and this inking here. You can see how the difference in the lines. Zatanna on the cover. This is 540 from 1983, February. Marv Wolfman again on the scripts. And we have another Action Comics here. Anytime I can find these from the 80s, especially the early 80s for $1. They're coming home with me, and even if they're doubles, sometimes they'll come home with me. So this one actually has a backup feature with Aquaman in it. Definitely not. This is a Ross Andrew and Big Giordano cover, number 577 from, or 517 from March 1981. Another dollar pickup. The War for Peace. The Strangest Christmas Story Ever Told. Okay, cool. I'm going to have to read that one. Christmas is coming up. Now, I've been in Florida, 36 years now. And I came from Wisconsin. I always tell my wife, my fantasy is to one day wake up on Christmas morning with snow outside the door, the window, in front of the fireplace. You can't do that here in Florida, but now it's possible with this new house because one of the bedrooms has French doors that lead out to this patio, and I told my wife, that's where we're sleeping on Christmas Eve, and there's a possibility it could snow, and there could be even deer in the yard. There's a lot of deer over there. Secret Origins. This is number 3. This may be an A-OK trade from Lady Fantastic. I know she traded me one of these. So Wonder Woman and Wildcat. I did like the character, his granddaughter, I believe it is, in Stargirl. And the reason I don't have any info is because I got the ad showing me. My son just texted me yesterday. He's all into the superhero because his daughter, my granddaughter, who's 5, she's into all kinds of superheroes. And he's like, man, I hope they'll make a Wildcat movie. And here we have Atlas Comics, number 2, Scorpion, The Scorpion. This is like Ernie Chan cover, Howard Chaykin, and the interiors. And Chaykin bought this character to Marvel Comics in Marvel Preview number 2 with a new name. I forget the name of the character, but he brought him over to Marvel. Okay, we hit 30, and then I'll go ahead and record our Sunday one. I picked this one up for 50 cents, I believe. Just pretty cool Good Girl cover. And I forget who does this cover. Oh, it's Howard Chaykin cover. What do you know? What a coincidence. So number 1 from July 13th. This was supposed to be a movie or a TV show at some point. I don't think it ever happened. Satellite Sam. And you can see it's kind of a sexy cover. For 50 cents, I thought, you know what, I'll throw in the collection. I don't collect too many modern books, so this is one of those rare modern books in my collection. Then we have some Joe Kubert, as a lot of people will say, Joe Kubert action. Number 2. This is from 1976. And I think this lasted 4 issues only. The first Jewish black superhero. I like the concept because it's reminiscent of Batman. He hides in the shadows. He has a hood, and he's mysterious. Scourging the Ghetto Lords. Love this right here. This banner. That looks cool. Ragman. Great origin. It's a pretty good series, and you can still find it in dollar bins anywhere. At a dollar bin near you. And then this is a cool giant size 200th anniversary Sergeant Rock. It's a nice milestone issue. Not a bad copy of that. I paid $1 for this. Come on, you're not leaving this for no buck. Ain't no way. Joe Kubert cover. Of course, it's got more stories than a normal comic. Great banner. That's a giant. It's It's got so much going for it. Who's leaving that? I'm not. Tell me in the comments. Would you leave this? I doubt it. If you're one of my followers, you ain't leaving that. Well, speaking of cool giant issues of Sergeant Rock, here we have 100 pages for 60 cents. Our Army at War, number 204, July 1974. And what I pay for this? $3. Giant size. Did you know you see these 100 pages quite up? You see them quite often, but I don't think you see this one too often. There's a lot of good reading in there. I'm sure there's some reprints, some new stories. It feels good to feel that thickness in your hand. I want to know from you guys, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the sound of the Mylar? Like you hear people like, they don't see them like under the camera, they're messing with books, and then you hear that Mylar sound. There was another sound I was going to compare that to, and I can't remember what it was. Not the poly bag. And I just love when people are doing videos and I can hear the Mylar off screen. Here we have another Atlas. We have some police action with Lomax and Luke Malone Manhunter. Beautiful book. I'm so shocked that Atlas never survived. I always thought they had some of the coolest looking covers. And the stories were pretty good, I thought. They weren't too consistent, but I thought they were pretty good. I mean, it was top talent. This is a Frank Thorne cover. You got Gary Friedrich on scripts, and Mike Plug does art on the back feature story in here. Okay, we're closing in on that 30 minutes, and we're almost done with this pile of books I got. So we have the Adventure into Fear, number 29, August 75. This is Ron Wilson. Don Heck on this is not one of the better issues. Don Heck on interiors. But even the worst of these is still really cool. Death has 1,000 eyes. I just like this. It's cool. Morbius. I remember seeing these as a kid, like I was 8 years old, 9 years old. I thought, man, those are cool. I didn't own them. Somebody had them. I seen them somewhere, and I'm like, man, I wish that I could have those. And you know how it is. And as the kind of kid I am in the comics, you see a comic that you're like, that's so cool, but I can't afford it. How can I get that? It sticks with you until you get to that point where you're able to walk into a situation where you're older, you have money, and it's there, and you're like, yes, finally got it. There's a lot of great covers on the Swamp Thing, like 3/4 of the way through the series in volume 1. When it gets to the last few issues, the art's kind of wonky. But here we have Nestor Redondo, and he did some amazing covers in this run. May 75, number 16. Look at all the zombies. And you know, I don't know if you're like me, just from watching YouTube videos, well, this bugs me. Because I have stuff I never noticed before, and then people start saying, oh yeah, if you look for the copies that have, they're centered perfectly, a lot of them are off to the side, or miscut to the top, and I'm like, I never really even looked for that. And then when I see 2 or 3 videos mention that, it's like every time I look at books in this era now, with the 2 bullet things on the side, I look to see how well centered they are. Because yeah, it does make a difference when you notice it. But when you don't care, you don't care. But when people like point it out to you, you're like, oh man. Now it's like every time you look at one, how centered is that book? And then you'll have 2 or 3 like, hey, this one's centered more. I want that one. So here we have a couple more of these with the bullets, which are centered pretty good. Here's another Swamp Thing. I found all like 5 or 6 Nestor Redondo issues at a small comic fest for like $1. I grabbed them all. And I think they're really good. I love his art. Number 14. Okay, 3 more books and we'll be out of here. Here we have another one, number 12. Again, pretty well centered. It's cutting it off right here a little bit, but for $1, I'll take it. Great cover. Reminds me of Land of the Lost, kind of. Will and Holly, man. Chaka. This is a cool one. Strange Adventures. Anytime you get a book with DC with 10 cents on the title, you could really care less what it is as long as it's got that 10 cents on it. And if it has 10 cents, you know it's 1960 or older. And some of I think it bled into halfway through the 1961, which this is. It's got a nice little British price stamp up here. Kind of a King Kong kind of feel to it with the planes and the giant monster. The giant who stole mountains. Extra. New Atomic Knights story. Nice. Okay, 2 more. That wraps up your Saturday morning comic show. So here we have a romance comic from DC. We have Secret Hearts number 150 from March 71. Kind of reminds me of a Batman cover from Detective where he's running and a plane's behind him shooting at him. It almost looks like they took the exact graphic and just changed it to a romance comic. Who knows? I doubt if I'll get time to edit it. If I do, I'll put it up and I doubt it. I got no time these days. So last but not least, dollar book. Detective 491 from 1980, Ross Andrew cover. I paid $1.60 for it. Assassination of Batgirl. Always love these dollar books with bullets there. No ads. More pages for your money. What does it say? Best only in Best Buy and Comics. These had no ads in them. They had the Daily Planet page with the Answer Man. 5 all-new adventures. These dollar books from the DC. I did a video on them. They warm the cockles, man. That's it. That's all we have for Saturday morning. All right, so stay tuned. We'll definitely have one out for Sunday. Night Tiger, peace out.